next Under the Lights. It's called A Hunter's Moon for a reason. See what programs survived while others got their feeding.
That's a big-time football team over there. They're going to talk about that for the ages.
District races tightened up.
Make a statement tonight.
We break down the RPI formula.
Yeah, boys, yes, sir.
This future came as our 5-star Friday feature.
He's the kind of guy that gets the ball in his hands and everybody's just edge of your seat.
We've got upsets and the player of the week. All Under the Lights.
Hey there, it is great to see you again. I'm Dave Aizer.
And I'm Kailey Mizelle. Welcome into Under the Lights, Florida high school football final driven by Honda.
Week 8 had a lot of district games with playoff implications.
Plus, we have a huge upset. We'll get to that in a minute, but first, let's roll tape on the #1 team in the state. Bill Castle and the Lakeland Dreadnoughts in district play versus Durant. Castle himself looking for win number 440. Dave, we did this last week. When you don't have the best player in the state on your team, what do?
I'm thinking I get the ball to my second best scoring threat.
Well, I would agree, and so does Lakeland. That's Arian Smith, the 26th best player in the state, by the way. He's got some nifty moves, sets up their first score, 7-0. Then Smith receives this touchdown catch as Lakeland rolls 27-0. But by no means is Coach Castle happy with where his team's at thus far this season.
We're still not there. I don't think we've peaked by any means. So, we just got to keep playing one at a time and working hard in practice and get better.
District 14 7A Battle of Unbeatens in Fort Lauderdale. Plantation against St. Thomas Aquinas. Third play of the game. Colonel quarterback Gerard Nesbitt with Raiders draped all over him throws the pick to Colby Dempsey. He returns it for 6. How many times have we seen that? Nope. Coming back. Illegal block nullified the score. The Raiders drive stalled. Plantation blocks the field goal attempt. Do we have a game? Not really. St. Thomas quarterback Zion Turner rolls out and points out where he's heading. No flag. 7-0 Aquinas. Sophomore Anthony Hankerson had a big day, 110 rushing yards and 2 touchdowns. St. Thomas runs for 322 yards and rolls 35-0.
Number 3, Columbia traveling to Robert E. Lee, who crushed the Tigers state title hopes last year. Generals Kale Zara to Timothy Gallion, and the Generals are on the board first. They do it again. Zaire Lee punches it in, and Generals are up 13-0. Columbia is a second-half team. Friday, no exception. Jordan Smith connects with Trey Tolliver, and it's a 13-6 game. Now watch the upper left-hand corner. Those are the waving hands of Marquez Bell. He gets the jump pass from Smith. Tie game. Now Tigers looking for the lead for the first time. Smith out of the pocket finds a leaping Tolliver, and the Tigers take the 21-13 lead. Fourth quarter, Generals driving Kale Zara. The run of the game for the Generals, who tie the game on the 2-point conversion. Now we're in overtime. 4th and goal. Generals Colby Bates with the ball. It's a touchdown. Lee upsets Columbia 27-21 in overtime.
Wow. District 15 5A Stranahan taking on 4th-ranked American Heritage. Keep an eye on that guy. Stranahan 4-star prospect Leonard Manuel. He gets the scoring started by hauling in Levonche Wright's 11-yard touchdown pass. The Mighty Dragons with the early lead. Now the Patriots overcame injuries to their QB and running back but got it going. Here's a field goal by Chris Marin. Carlson Joseph rushed for 93 yards and a pair of touchdowns. And not to be outdone, the defense got involved. Levonche Wright thinks he has daylight, but he's brought down, the ball comes out, and it's recovered by Boobsy Silvera. A great name and a great play. A total team effort as Heritage wins and keeps on rolling. They slay the Dragons 27-6.
2-loss Northwestern taking on 5-loss Miami Springs at the Traz. Senior running back Nathaniel Noel pinballs his way through Hawks all the way to the end zone. Then Bulls freshman quarterback Teron Dixon showing off, hitting Romello Brinson. He's got the shake and bake and score. Bulls did a lot of scoring against the Hawks, taking the game 58-0.
Pahokee hosting number 6 Chaminade Madonna, and a big day for a big star. Chaminade's running back Thaddeus Franklin ran for 264 yards and 2 touchdowns, including this 90-yard touchdown run. Look at the big guy go. Pahokee actually led 7-6 at halftime, but in the second half, the Lions roared and scored touchdowns on 5 of their first 6 possessions. Chaminade Madonna dominates this game. They win 43-7.
Showing off legs in our Advent Health Kick of the Week, Andre Borregales gets this in from 56 yards. What a kick! Still a few yards off the 65-yard state record set by Graham Gano, but for 56 yards as a junior, that deserves the Advent Health Kick of the Week. Side note, it hits the rep.
My coach trusted me to go out there and make the kick right before halftime, get the momentum going a little bit. I practice those kicks every day. That's what I'm made for. And I love those type of pressure kicks.
Dave, we're not done. Chaminade earning all the prizes this week. The Orlando Health Catch of the Week goes to Elijah Canyon. The concentration is rewarded for 6. The Pahokee DB will play that back in his mind a bunch this week. That's our Orlando Health Catch of the Week.
He's going to Auburn, by the way. District 16, 6A, and 7th-ranked Miami Central trying to rebound after a tough loss to Northwestern. They got it going early on. This 34-yard rushing touchdown by Damon Brown spotted the Rockets to a 14-0 first-quarter lead. From there, fancy offense. Wide receiver Keith Brown at QB finds fellow wideout Shimon Mateer for the score. That made it 31-0. Then Travis Marsh proves why he's the starting quarterback by hitting Lamar Seymour over the middle for a 6-yard touchdown. Central beats Norland 38-0. The 8th-ranked fashion forward South Dade Buccaneers versus Southwest Miami and Homestead. Those are way better pirate shirts than Jerry Seinfeld wore. What's the deal with this touchdown pass? From Nick Graham to Jermaine Hawkins, I don't think that was a good Seinfeld impersonation.
I think you should keep going.
All right, more Buccaneer offense. That's enough. A double pass, and once again, it ends up in the waiting arms of Hawkins. Fun play and a big district win for South Dade. They roll 43-12.
Armwood looking for revenge as they face Tampa Bay Tech, who beat the team as they opened the season last year. On the first play of the game, Eric Wilson with the rock finds holes and goes 75 yards to the end zone. An early Hawks 7-0 lead. Then Cameron Rampson shows that he can use his feet too. 16 yards in the score makes it 14-0 for Armwood. The Hawks get their revenge as Ransom goes deep, drops it in the bucket to Jacavis Gillespie, 32-0 en route of Tampa Bay Tech.
Okay, first quarter in the books. Plenty more great games coming, including another overtime thriller.
And for you to check out all the thrills this week, make sure to visit utlflorida.com.
Still to come, a battle of unbeatens on the Treasure Coast. And he'll punish you at the goal line. Our 5-star Friday feature is next, Under the Lights. Under the Lights is driven by Honda. Visit your local Honda dealer today. By Advent Health. Our goal is to help you feel whole. And by the Florida Lottery. It's your ticket. Claim it.
Those are the sweet tunes of Michael Jackson, played by the Tampa Bay Tech drumline, and I am sure happy they are teaching their kids about the King of Pop. You've heard the term football family before. At Belen Jesuit, they take it a step further. There are 3 fathers that coach their sons on the team. Don Chaney Jr. is one of those players, and he's our focus under the lights in our 5-star Friday feature. Belen Jesuit is known for running the ball out of the wing T formation. It's one of the oldest offenses around. Not a lot of gimmicks, just power football right off the tackles. Don Chaney Jr. has racked up over 4,309 yards in the offense, along with crossing the goal line 63 times for Belen.
It's hard to describe. I mean, he's just electric. I mean, he's the kind of guy that gets the ball in his hands and everybody's just edge of your seat.
And then it's like exciting while he's going, and sometimes I find myself running down the sideline.
It's almost like a once-in-a-generation kind of thing, and the only thing I would hope is that anybody that coaches would be lucky enough to have a guy like him.
Don Chaney Jr. runs a 4.440. He describes his running to one of his idols, Todd Gurley.
He can do everything. He can catch out of the backfield. He's a power back, a speed back. My favorite score is like running someone over in the end zone.
He's committed to wear number 2 for the Miami Canes next year. Surprisingly, it wasn't his favorite team growing up.
I was always an Oregon fan, but it was obviously just like everybody else, the uniforms.
Cheney's excited to lace up and play in Hard Rock Stadium next year.
It's the new Miami. It's a new brotherhood. The coaching staff, they're determined. And I love to be determined.
But it's that brotherhood that sold Don Jr. to the U.
It felt like he belonged, you know, even from my standpoint. But he felt it, and that was the most important part.
The best thing about Don Jr., he chose Miami for its education.
I want to be a neurologist. So first I'm studying kinesiology and then try to go to med school.
His parents are proud of all of it.
He does all the right things, and just his personality. I think the ability is the last thing we're kind of proud of because it trickles down, you know, from academics all the way to the game time.
A battle of unbeatens between Seminole and Flagler Palm Coast. Seminole cheerleaders smack-talking the Bulldogs. What is this? Bring it on? Seminoles' Jordan Smith off right tackle for the touchdown, 7-0 Noles. More Seminoles this time in the air. QB Timmy McClain finds O'Shea Baker, and the Noles are cooking. And how about this fake field goal? Zion Jackson keeps it, and he will score. 34-9, Seminole beats Flagler Palm Coast, and the cheerleaders were right. And head coach Don Stark has love for his team and their opponent.
You know, they're obviously a playoff caliber team. I wouldn't be surprised if we see them again sometime. And, you know, after last year, you know, we only know one way to get into the district, and that's, or the playoffs, and that's to win our district. So we've got 2 more district games, and hopefully we can pull them out.
District 9 5A matchup between the Merritt Island Mustangs and the Rockledge Raiders, and Merritt Island is all pumped up. Well, at least they were. Here's a Rockledge pass from Elias Allen to Ladarius Tennyson, and he's off to the races and in for the score, and the Raiders were just getting started. More Rockledge, this time on the ground, and Avery Smith takes the inside handoff, makes the beautiful move to bust it outside, and now it's a foot race, and nobody's going to catch him, nothing but end zone. And the Raiders kept attacking back to the air, and Allen goes back to Tennyson. Beautiful pitch and catch. Raiders win 42-6 and clinch the district title.
Number 16, Cardinal Gibbons facing MacArthur. First play of the second half. Brody Pulhagi connecting with Jackson Marseille down the sidelines. 80 yards in the score. Pulhagi finished with 266 yards, 14 of 19 passing. This pass to Troy Stiletto, just one of his 3 touchdowns on the night, as the Chiefs down MacArthur 38-14.
Treasure Coast against Vero Beach in a fantastic game. Third quarter, Titans down 17-12. Keegan Davis takes it 19 yards for the score. Treasure Coast goes for 2. They don't get it. They lead 18-17. Fourth quarter, Titans run a double reverse pass. It's a duck. But it works, complete to Jonas Turk Watkins. The Titans would later score, miss the conversion, and lead 24-17. 8 seconds left, Vero Beach's Jaden Meisinger scores. Extra point is good. 24 all. Overtime. In OT, Treasure Coast gets the ball first. Here's Watkins punching it in. Titans again go for 2 and again don't get it. They lead 30-24. Vero's turn. Ryan Jankowski hits Jermaine Dawkins. We're tied at 30, and Henry Morgan drills the extra point to win it. The Fighting Indians pull out a thriller, 31-30, and they have now won 59 regular season games in a row. Wow.
What a game, what a win. Congrats.
And if you want to celebrate your favorite players, coaches, and teams, just go to Twitter and use the hashtag UTLFlorida.
Coming up, who is the player of the week? And it's as important as solving for pi. We break down the RPI formula. Under the Lights is driven by Honda. Visit your local Honda dealer today. By Vico Painting Contractors, a commercial painting company that delivers top quality work and excellent customer satisfaction. And by Orlando Health, a not-for-profit network of leading community hospital.
All right, let's check out some of the best teams in the Sunshine State. Look at number 10, the Palmetto Tigers, earning their spot in the top 10. Kailey, their RPI is the best in the state.
And somebody who fell after this past week, Columbia. You don't see them there anymore, but you do see Chaminade Madonna making their way to the top 5.
All right, let's talk to the guy responsible for all these rankings, Josh Wilson, the founder of FloridaHSFootball.com. Hello, my friend. Good to see you.
Good, great to see y'all as well. It's hard to believe we're already through 8 weeks of the season.
It sure is, but Josh, before we get any further, I have a bone to pick with you. Columbia, number 3, you were super hot on them a few weeks ago. They lost in overtime, 1 loss, and now they dropped 15 spots. Please explain.
Well, Kailey, it's real simple. Got to go back to the week before. Lee lost to a weak Reebok team, and Columbia just couldn't get out of their own way against Lee. And right now, Columbia is looking at a wild card spot and not a district championship. So that's a big factor why they dropped that many spots.
Wow.
Mighty have fallen.
Seriously, mighty have fallen big time. Okay, let's talk RPI. We follow you on Twitter, and the comments, people are freaking out over the RPI. Why are people having such a hard time with all of this?
Well, first, it's the first set of rankings, and we've still got several more sets of rankings to go here. But got to remember the RPI, 35% your win percentage, 35% your opponent's win percentage, and 30% your opponent's win percentage. That makes the components of the RPI, and it's only factoring into the games played up to that date. So when you see the rankings, that's where it's factored into. So there's still a lot of football left to be played here coming up in the next 3 weeks.
So you look at a team like Western, 6-1, but they haven't beaten anybody really good, and that's probably holding them back. They do, however, have a matchup against St. Thomas in a few weeks, which is going to be pivotal for them.
Yeah, that's going to be a week 11. That's going to be the final game of the season for both programs. But, you know, if you look at Western and why the RPI for them is so low right this second, it's because of look at who they've played. The strength of schedule has not been there for them. Of course, when they play St. Thomas Aquinas, this will help them, and it will help both teams, and actually will probably help the other teams they have played that could be potentially playoff bound. So this is why you can't really get worked up, about the first set of rankings or what the rankings are going to be on Tuesday afternoon. It's because there's still a lot of games to be played, and you add more games, and when you keep adding more games, the number keeps going up in terms of the averages. And, eventually at the end of the day, once we get to week 11 and get through all those games, we're going to have that final RPI, and these games that even to week 11, they're going to matter, and they're going to show up, and they're going to matter to the strength of schedule.
Well, thank you so much, Josh. I know we, for one, are looking forward to seeing how everything shakes out come playoff time.
Edison versus Carroll City at the Traz. Carroll City honoring star wide receiver, senior DeAndre Stafford. The Chiefs with the ball, and Keon Jenkins is going to keep it himself, score, and play a little guitar. Extra point is blocked, and you know why we show you these things. It's for a reason. Here's the reason. Edison Zachary Baldwin, who was just nominated to the Junior Army All-American game with a pick six, 7-6 Red Raiders. The score holds up. A program-building win for Uncle Luke and Edison.
Fletcher Senators taking on Buchholz Bobcats. The Senators using their junior tailback, Miles Montgomery. Montgomery takes the handoff 85 yards untouched to the house, and that was just the beginning of Montgomery's play. He had 317 yards, 4 touchdowns in Fletcher's 41-17 win over Buchholz.
The Deerfield Beach Bucks taking on the Spanish River Sharks. This one was all Bucks. Michael Pratt had a big day in the air, including this touchdown pass to Xavier Restrepo, and this one to FSU commit Jalen Knighton, who scampers into the end zone. Pratt would even add another one to Alex Henningham, and Deerfield Beach dominates 64-0.
Oakleaf Knights Frank Garris with the speech as his team takes on Mandarin. Carson Beck to Johnny Ward, and the defending state champs go up 2 scores. The Knights, Walter Simmons III running, sees Sean Washington, who gets to the corner for the score. Then things get a little weird. Kicker Hudson Levine tries for the 34-yard field goal. It's swatted down and picked up by Mustang safety Devin Lewis. Lewis with the scoop and score, 30 yards, 34-20 Mustangs. Knights fighting. Simmons III with Washington again. And then Adrian Gray drags a player with him as he finds the end zone. And the Knights are down 1 score. Coming down to this, Simmons III rolls right, fires to Antonio Marshall Jr., who comes down out of bounds. A heartbreaker for Oakleaf as Mandarin takes it 34-33.
University School taking on Columbus, and check out the air attack by the Sharks. If you're wondering how to throw a deep ball, it's like this. Nick Vadiato has a huge arm, and he hits Brandon Innes in stride. The Sharks beat the Explorers 35-0 and improve to 6-1. What a throw.
It's fourth quarter. Get your game face on.
This is my only face, but I can do this.
Still to come, highlights from coast to coast and top performances. That's next, Under the Lights. Time now for the Florida Lottery Pick 4 Player of the Week. Every week at the end of the show, we present 4 top performances to vote on. To participate, go to Twitter handle @FoxSportsFL and cast a vote. The winner of this week's fan vote is Chris Phillips from Boca Ciega. Chris had 9 carries for 338 yards and 5 touchdowns last week against Countryside.
Here's a look at this week's Florida Lottery Pick 4 top performances. A couple of top performances from the QB position, 1 running back and a cornerback. Remember, make sure you hit up our Twitter handle at FoxSportsFL with the hashtag UTLFlorida, and you can vote for this week's top performances.
Chris Phillips and Boca Ciega facing Northeast, who's still finding their way without Jaquez Welch. Phillips with the rock. It's not what he did last week, but Phillips picks up 192 yards, 2 touchdowns in Boca Ciega's 40-0 win over Northeast.
The Palmetto Panthers against the Coral Reef Barracudas. Panthers on offense, and quarterback Kevin Smith with some fancy footwork, avoiding the pressure and hitting Mike Jackson for the score. Now on D, the Panthers on the prowl. Karan Rackley racks up the interception and takes it to the house, a pick 6, and Palmetto goes on to win 55-0.
The 1-4 Freedom Patriots taking on 5-1 Osceola Cowboys. Osceola QB Devon Wells passed to Dwayne McGee for the touchdown, 14-0 Osceola. Wells with the option goes to Jarandi Swint, and Osceola rolls 58-0.
The Newberry Panthers at the Dixie County Bears. Newberry put up 28 points in the first quarter. They got a rushing score from Laverne Woods, and they also got this passing touchdown from Mekhi Johnson to Cameron Cohen. Newberry improves to 7-1 with a 56-12 win.
One slip-up the Panthers had leads to our Vico Painting Defensive Play of the Week. Quarterback Brendan Hall with the delicate push-off, watching the eyes of the QB the whole time. The perfect jump, walks away with the ball, and nabs the Vico Painting Defensive Play of the Week.
It's time once again to give out some helmet stickers, and thanks as always to Rydell for providing these helmets. Kailey, you get to go first.
Okay, I have to go Anthony Russo's from River Ridge. He had 218 rushing yards, 4 touchdowns in their 42-7 win over Wesley Chapel.
Well done. All right, I'm going running back also. I'm going Chaminade Madonna's Thaddeus Franklin, 264 yards rushing and 2 rushing touchdowns, including a 90-yarder in their win over Pahokee. Well
Definitely done. 2 impressive performances by running backs this week.
That's all for us. We hope you enjoyed the show.
This has been Under the Lights, Florida High School Football Final, driven by Honda.
You can go to the barbershop when you get my age, and you can sit up there and you can say, yeah, we beat y'all.